examples we will see now. One more time I will explain that how to present arrays. We learnt about various methods of reading array. So to present any content dynamically, two important points we should know. Creating a new HTML element dynamically. How to create a new HTML element dynamically. For that, what we have to do, we have to create a reference document dot create element method. Create element, whatever the element name. Element name can be an option, it can be a list item, it can be image, anything. We can create any element. And after that, after creating element, define properties for element. We have to define properties for element. That means reference dot name, reference dot id, reference dot src, whatever attributes it is having. But here remember, you can apply, you can use here one note I will give. You can use only property, not attribute. We can use only property, not attribute. If you remembered, I told you that when we are learning HTML, in HTML tag, whatever we write is an attribute. We don't have properties in HTML. But when we are dynamically dealing with that element, then we have to use properties, no attributes. For example, suppose sometimes attribute name is class, but property name is class name. When you write in HTML, we use class. But when you want to dynamically apply through JavaScript, this class will not work. We have to use class name. Sometimes the property name, attribute name same, property name also same. But sometimes it will be different. Not only that, some attributes are not available as properties. For example, suppose we have table. For table, we have width and height. But the table is not having height as property. It is not having height as property. That means height is not a property of table. Table have only width. Height is available as attribute, but not available as property. So whenever you try to use that height dynamically, it will show error. It says that table don't have height. How do we know which property is there? What is the name of that property? How we can know whether the property available or not? For that, one small program you can write. So what you can do is, I will show you a simple program. How to know which property is available, which attribute property name is different. How do we know that? For that, you try this simple point. So what you have to do is simply, we need to first script. Yeah. We need to create first element table. How to create a element? Document dot create element. Create element, what is it? Table. Remember, this reference name can be anything. Reference name I can give tab, anything. This is element name. This is just its memory name. And if I want to access all its properties, we have to write for var property in table. Then we can print the property document dot write property and put a break. You can see it is going to print all the properties of the table. These are all properties of table. And see, we have T head, T body, T foot, but here capitalization different. We have to use in this way. And observe carefully, we have border, frame, rules. You have width, but I will search here Control F find. Here in find, I will write height. You can see there is no height. There is something called offset height. And you can see 3 results came. And hit enter. Next result is scroll height. Next result is client height. But there is no height. Then if you try to apply height for table, it will show error saying that there is no height. But you can apply height for table in HTML. Attribute is there, but property is not there. Then if property is not there, then we have to alternatively apply by using styles. By using style, you can apply the height. So whenever you are creating element, first you should know the properties of that element. Without that, you cannot handle any element. Into that properties, we have to put the values. Second, after define the properties, next step, add element into its parent or any container. You have to add element into its parent. If it is a child element, you add into its parent. If it is not a child element, then how you can add? You have to add in the body. In the body, you can directly add, or in the body, you can put one container. In that container, you can add. So body is a container, or you can have any another container inside the body. For example, see now, suppose here, I want this document simple. Yeah. Let's say dynamic element. So here we have a button, create image. Below that we have a div. You can keep IDs if you have many. What I want is when button is clicked, I want an image to be created and added into this div. A picture. So we don't have an image. We want to add image dynamically. That means an image must be created and it must be added to the page. So how do we do? First step, on button click, on click, that is create click. We will write here script. In the script function, create click. On create click, what to do? First, we have to use the technique of creating element first. First, we have to create element. So document dot create element, which element? img. So this element is created and loaded into memory. How to access? That means this memory should have a reference name. So var pic, some reference name. So that means picture is created and it is assigned to this memory. That means now this pic is image type. Now pic can have width. Width is 100, and pic can have height. Height is also 100. Pic can have border. Border I can give as some 2. Pick can have src. Src can be dot dot slash public slash assets. We have assets or images. Assets jacket dot jpg like this. And after creating the picture, we have to add this picture into this div. Then how to access the div? That means here we have to add element into parent. For that we have to use a function append child. By using append child, that means what we have to do, access that element parent document dot query selector. What is it? Div. Into the div append child. Append child. What to append? Which element to append? You have to mention the element reference, not the element name. That means not image. Image reference is pick. This one we have to append pick. Right now it is added into the page. Okay, now you see in the inspect, and you can observe here in elements we have body. In that div is empty, and when I click on create image, that image is created here, and in the div you can see that image is added. So we are creating an element dynamically and adding to the page. For that, document dot create element, then append child. These 2 points are very important. Once you know this, now we can implement this in our array. Right? Let's see how we can implement in array. First, I will copy this. This is the technique of creating element, adding element. Okay, now let's take an example here. What we will do is how we can add array elements into page, using HTML nodes. We can use HTML nodes. HTML nodes means parent node, child nodes, hierarchy we can. So how do we do that? Let's see now. Suppose I will remove this, and here I will create a simple ordered list. Okay. So I will create a drop down. Okay. I will create a table, right? And in this table we have T head. In that we have some categories. T head will have TR. TR will have TH categories. Okay. Here also we have categories. Here also we have some categories list, a select category like this. Just we defined some options here, and here we have categories like this, and all this is fine now. Yeah. Now I want everything to be loaded there. That means what we want here is in the table, a table will have some border, and width is some 300. Okay. So that is the table we have. Now I want an array. Let's go to array. We will create an array called categories. Is an array. It is having all. It is having electronics. It is having footwear like this. Categories are present. Okay, fine. Now I want to add these into ordered list. I want to add this into option, drop down into table. Then how do we do that? Remember, we are as of now learning only simple data like string, number, or another array. Later we will learn about object data, then you will have more complex data. As of now, we learned only array of string, number, or different types of values. Here, what to do? How to read all of them. I told you that we can use iterators, we can use loops. What is difference between loop and iterator is loop is having a condition, counter, and it have initializer. Three things will be there. But iterator advantage, without condition, without initialization, it can read every element from array. So in the modern programming, we don't prefer any loops. For example, if I have to use a loop to read all these, we have to write like this: for where I is equal to 0, because index starts with 0, I less than, so categories dot length means how many elements are there, I plus plus. This you will learn later. While learning about operator statements, I will explain what is a for loop, what is initializing, condition, all these level by level we will learn. But these days gone, we don't use these anymore because these are very complex, very lengthy for reading and configuring the elements. In modern JavaScript and modern programming, you will hardly see anybody using these kind of loops. We always prefer iterators, faster. They are lightweight, faster. So later we will see differences between them. This is called loop actually. In loop, we need initializer. Initializer means we have to tell where to start. We need condition. We have to tell when to stop. We need a counter. We have to tell after this how to proceed, next or previous, increment or decrement. Without using this, we can simply handle using iterator. As I told you yesterday, two iterators are there. What are the iterators? So here I will give here iterators. Iterators for, so for reading array elements, array elements. We have two iterators. One is for in, another one we have for off. For in will it reads and returns all properties, properties, and it read and returns all values, all properties and all values. It will return all properties and all values. Syntactically, we write like this: for where property, any reference name, property in collection, you have to write collection. This is to read all properties. For where value of collection, value of collection, it will read every value, every value. Here you don't need any initialization, you don't need condition, you don't need counter, you don't need to tell where to start. It will automatically start if there are values in collection. It will automatically stop when it ends the collection. It will automatically proceed to next after reading the current. So you don't need any of those three. That means the difference between loop and the iterator is that in iterator, we can simply put for where item of collection. Collection is categories. Now every item is stored here. Reasonably, I will give the name as category for every category in categories here. We are reading every category. Now for every category, we want to create a list item. Because in order to add into ordered list, we need to create a list item. How do we do? Where li is equal to document dot create element li. We are creating list item. In list item, we need to display category name. So list item dot inner HTML category. That's it. After displaying category name inside list item, we have to add this list item to ordered list. So document dot query selector, what is it? Ordered list. To that append child. Which one to add? List item. That's enough. So 3 steps I told you, those 3 steps are here. What are the 3 steps I told you here is, first step, create element. Second step, define properties. And third step, we have to add element to parent. So those 3 steps are here. This is creating element, defining the property and adding to the parent. Now you can see it is ready. So we have to access that. So one more, yeah. This we have to tell on body load. Am I right? On load, when to happen, your wish. You can put a button click anywhere. So for example, your wish, you can define, suppose I said button load categories, that is the button. Now all this should happen when categories button load categories clicked. That means on click. So load click. Okay. And this should happen on load click. I will define here a function load click. On load click, we will do this functionality. That means we are going to add everything into that. Now this is global variable, so that I can access anywhere, in any function we can access. Now you can see, so when I click load categories, it should load the categories. Means it is loading those categories and displaying here. Now I want the same here. I want, when load categories clicked, I want to load the categories here also. In the drop down also, I want to load the categories. Then what to do? In order to, same iterator I can use. So in the same iterator, but this time we have to create an option, document dot create element. Create element. Which element? Option. Okay. After that, option dot text. Don't have text or value. So you learned in HTML that if it is a text box, if I want to display anything in text box, then we have to use value, right? So options have value, options have text, options have selected, option have disabled. I explained that while learning options. I told you that every option will have 4 properties. Text indicates what you see, value indicates what you submit. For example, see here, I am using text is equal to category. I am using category. Okay. Option dot value is equal to, well, depending on to which element you are adding. If that element is having text and value, you can add. If it is not having text and value, whatever property is used for showing, you have to use it, or you have to use inner HTML, inner text or inner HTML. Here value also category. Okay. Now you see here, when we, where to add this document dot query selector, we have to add into select. Into select, we want to append. Select, append. What is it? Append child. Append child. Which one to append? Option. Remember, append is not asking element name. It is asking element reference. That means it is not this one. It is this reference name. Understood? Right? So now it is done. This is also on button click. It will load the categories here. It will load the categories and display the categories here. Right. Now, very important is, you see what I am doing. Text I will set here as to uppercase. To uppercase. Then what happens is, when I click load categories, it will be in uppercase. But when I submit, It will not submit uppercase. It will submit in the original case what it is. In the original case what it is, because value I am using as it is. Only text I am using uppercase. That means you can see in uppercase, but it will submit like this. That depends on how you want to display and configure, right? Now, same, if I want to add to table, then how? Generally, where to add in a table under this heading? That means I hope you know you need a T body. Am I right? In T body, can you add anything directly? No. Here, lot of points are there. Now, in HTML, you know the hierarchy. How to add any data into table? To add data into table, we need TD. Can you directly use TD in T body? No. So TD is present in TR. So first what we have to do now, we have to create a row. After that, we have to create a cell. In that cell, we have to put the data. Then cell must be added to row. Then row must be added to body. That's a lengthy one, right? That means first we have to create row. Let's do. So first we have to create a row. So where tr is equal to document dot create element, we have to create row. Okay, next we have to create cell where td is equal to document dot create element td. Why? Because we know that into row directly data cannot be added. We have to have a td or th only. Now where the category name should display? Category name should display in td. So td dot inner html, because td don't have any text or values, right? Inner html, what it should have? Category. After this td must be added into row. That means what is the parent? tr. tr dot append child. Into the row, what you have to add? td. Understood? That means we have to create a cell. Into the cell, we have to define the data, and that cell must be first added to row. This row must be added to table. Table body, am I right? It should be added to table body. This row must be added to table body. So document dot query selector t body. Into table body, we have to append child tr. That means for every category, it will create a row and it will create a cell. And you can see it is displayed in the table like this. Now imagine if I have to create a table with multiple columns and images inside, drop downs inside, very complex. 100 to 100%, I can guarantee that out of 100 interviews you attend, 95 interviews will ask, show me how to create a table dynamically in JavaScript. That means they will give you some data and they will say that design a table in JavaScript for this data. That means we need to collect the data and present the data, which we will learn here. Complex data, how to present. But as of now, our array is simple, so we are presenting simple. Right now, here not only like this, actually so much complex will be there. You can use your bootstrap knowledge, you can use your general markup knowledge to present contents. For example, I want a list of checkboxes like this. Then how? So I want a list of checkboxes like this. Means all categories must be displayed in checkboxes. So that means here I am giving another heading. I am giving another heading. Suppose choose categories. And here I want a list of checkboxes. I want a list of checkboxes. So here I will put in some ordered list or unordered list. I will put style. So list style as none, right? That means you will not have any numbering or anything inside. Now in this, I need to add a list item. In that list item, I need a checkbox. Understood? I need a list item. In that list item, I need a checkbox. That checkbox should contain category name. Now this is where complexity is. That means generally now people majority will think like, okay, now I have to create every element. Means I have to create a checkbox, I have to create a list item, then we have to add them. That means checkbox is added to list item is added to the ordered list. Not like that. Every time you don't need to do that. We have some other techniques here. See what we will do here. What I will do is, iterator is same. Here I will create another where we have to create a list item. List item. I can't use li again because already li is used above. Right? I will use ol li. Okay. Ordered list item. Okay. But element is which element? Document dot create element. Element is li only. We have to create a list item. After that, in that list item, what you want? So ordered list item dot inner HTML, because it is inner HTML, I can use a binding expression, means backticks. In the backtick, what I will do is I will create directly input type is equal to checkbox. I will create a checkbox, and the checkbox contains the text beside it. It will get the category name. Understood? It will get the category name. That means a checkbox is generated. So, and it is stored inside the list item. And the checkbox text will be this category name. This is how we can build the option. Now, you can do another way. What you have to do? Creating checkbox individually is lengthy, because first what you have to do, directly can you create element checkbox? No. Create element input. Understood? Create element input. After that, input type as checkbox. After that, value. That's lengthy. Then what you can do, directly you can create such markers. That means this type is mostly used if your element is not generated directly. If your element is generated through attributes. If your element is generated through attributes, then you have to create element. After that, create attribute. After that, you have to define the type. Instead of that, you can use this method. Now in this, what happens now? This should be added to OL. Am I right? Just already OL is there now. Right? For this OL, I will give one more option difference, but I will give UL. Right? I will give UL because already above there is OL, or you give different IDs. That is enough, right? Now here we have to add this. This I will give as UL list item. Okay. Now we have to add document dot query selector. What we have to access? UL into dot append child. What is that? UL list item. This we need to define. Now when we are creating here, click on that. So load categories. It will display all checkboxes. That means we have a list of checkboxes here. That means we can create links, we can create checkboxes, we can create radios. But if you are dealing with a complex element, don't try to create that. So design through markup and add to the element. That means suppose I need to design a card. What you will do? Card means we have to design card, card header, card body, card footer. It's very lengthy. Then we can design through markup. right? Just like as I showed you now. We will see all those, how to design cards and all this, but cards are not suitable for this type of data. Okay, later when you have complex data we can do it. This is an example of how we can present data into array. So this is one example how we can present everything. That means in this we have ordered list, unordered list, we have drop downs, we have tables, how we can generate and define them. Right? This is reading the elements from array and presenting those elements. Next important in array manipulations, we have adding new elements into array. So till now what you have seen is reading elements from array. How you can add new elements in array? For that we have methods like push. Push is used to, it adds a new element as last item. Push will add a new element as last item. That means into array we can add new elements by using push, by using unshift. Unshift is nothing but it adds a new element as first item. You can use splice. It adds new elements actually, because it is not one, you can add many also. That means I will give S, that means one or many. So it adds new elements at a specified index. Wherever you want you can add. So push is used to add as last item, unshift is as first item, and splice as any specific location. For example, see. Now how we can add array elements. Let's see, I will add another file, array add.html. Okay. First we will see the basic point where categories is some electronics. So we have footwear. Okay, these two are there, and I'm using for where item of categories. I'm printing here document.write item. Okay, so we are printing all these items here. Okay. Now this is a simple option of reading and presenting them. Now I want to add a new item. Then before reading, here we will use categories dot push, and I will say fashion, comma, I will say some men's clothing, something like this. You can see these two items are added as last items. They are added into array as last item. Suppose I am using, instead of push, I am using unshift. Then they are added as first. That means they are added at the top. That fashion and men's, any number of items you can add, one or many. Suppose I want to add at any specific location, means for example, I want to add after electronics. After electronics, I want to add these two. Then electronics index number is 0. Means after 0 means 1, right? Then what we do? We have to use the method called splice. Splice is expecting where you want to add. First you have to tell the index number. Index number is 1, right? Index number is 1. Okay, comma. After that at one index already footwear is there. What should happen to that? Generally when you do this, it will remove that footwear. We don't want to delete anything. Without deleting, add. Then here after index, you have to mention delete count 0. So this indicates that without deleting anything at one index, add these two. That means this will be pushed right. So here you can put one or two, your wish. Then what it will do? It will remove that footwear and add these two. We don't want to remove, so we have to put 0. Compulsory, you have to mention splice. Compulsory, you have to mention syntax. You have to define here splice uses. So index and delete count and new items. Delete count and new items. You have to do this. That means you need to use splice. You have to use delete count and new items. Where to add, how many to remove from there, and what to add. Right now I given that, and you can see it is adding that after electronics, fashion and men's clothing. So we can add as last item, we can add as first item, you can add anything. Suppose I am adding one more categories dot, so unshift as all, and you can see that is added as first item there. You can keep at any position, anywhere you can add. This is dynamically adding the elements into array. This is one point. We will put in example. First we will know what they are, how to write them. Now once you know how to add items into array, now how to remove elements from array. How to remove elements from array? For that we have pop, we have shift, we have splice again. Splice. Pop is nothing but it removes and returns last item. And shift, it removes and returns first item. Splice, it removes and returns specific item. These all are same. So pop will remove the last one, shift will remove the first one, splice will remove whatever index you have given. So that means suppose I am using here categories dot pop. That means it will remove the last one. The last one is footwear. That means the footwear is removed. Suppose I am using here as instead of pop, I am using shift. Shift means it will remove the first one. That means you can see first one all is removed. If I want to remove any specific, then you have to remove. Actually, only these two options are there. Shift will remove the first one. First one means electronics. Suppose we have electronics, footwear, fashion like this. Fashion like this, we have so many. I want to remove only footwear. Then what you have to do? Same splice. Splice is used for both adding and removing. At which index you want to remove? 1. How many to remove? 1. That's it. If you are adding, you will add the new item. Otherwise, you define like this. That means you can see now it removes that footwear. So this is for adding the items and removing the items. That's an example. Means how we can add items, how we can remove items into array. Now, once you know these methods, let's see how we can implement dynamically them. Right? Let's create one program for this. I will add here now little bit of program to handle. Yep. I'll say array manipulation. Okay, let's keep here link relation style sheet, and href is equal to bootstrap icons font icons.css, and I will use bootstrap also. Bootstrap dist css bootstrap.css. Let's keep this class container fluid. And here I will put heading as array manipulation. Just example I am giving here, array manipulation. And here let's keep a div and a class as row, a div, so class as call sum 4, and div here we have the class as call so sum 8. Now here we are keeping a label, and so I will just keep a div here. Yeah, so div, and we keep a label here, and we will say add new category. Okay, and the data definition here just we will keep a div, input type is equal to text, class as form control. Okay, that's the option we are having. And I will keep a button here, and class btn and btn primary, and add. Here I will keep this as class as input group. Okay, now this is the basic design we have. So that is add a new category, array manipulation. We have this one. Now what is the point is, we don't need a column here, just directly below itself I will show you. This is having class as margin top. So margin top as margin bottom as 3. Fine. Now below this, another container I will give here, div class margin top 2, and here I will put a label, categories list, categories list. We will put a div, and we will put a select. We will keep the size, that means it is a list box. We will keep as 3 or 4 size. Okay, and class as form select. So we have a drop down here, list box is here. Now below this list box we will add another container, and we will have a button. I will keep this as with a span, so class bi trash fill, and here I will just define as remove category. So class we have btn and btn danger and w100. This is a button we are having, and class as margin top 3. Fine. Now this we want to handle. That means first we will display some categories which are default available. So body on load, so that is body load. Okay, here we will write a script. Now I am declaring categories. Categories is an array which is having some categories. So it is having the categories like all, so like electronics, like this we have categories, footwear. Now I want these categories to be loaded into this drop down, into this list box. Now if I want to load that into the list box, I will give id as lst categories. Okay, fine. I want to add into that, but remember here that loading will be updated whenever you add and whenever you remove. That means we need to load 3 times. One on page load, another one on add, another one on remove. Then better you write one function called load categories. So this is the function. This is for reusability. That means when you want same work to be done so many times, then we can write all that in a function and we can call the function any number of times. What load categories have to do? Read every category. Where category of collection. What is it? Categories. We are reading every category from categories. For every category, what we want, because we want to add into drop down, that means we have to create a option is equal to document dot create element. Which one? Option. And option contains option dot text will be category. Okay, category. And option dot value also will be category. And add this option into document get element by ID lst categories dot append child. Append child. Which one to add? Option. So that is added here. Now what should happen is this load categories. We have one more issue. I will tell you that issue. It will load every time. If I click one more time, it will add to existing again. You will see duplicates. I will show you that. Now, currently it is not loading because you have to tell when to load. So when to load, we will write that function. What is the function? Body load. On body load, we will call load categories method. So that this work will be done whenever body loads. So it is done. That means it is accessing all the categories and displaying here. Now I want to type a new category here and click on add button. That category must be added into this list. So we have to handle that on add button click. So let's go to add button. And for this, we have to write on click. This is add click. Okay. On add click, we have to collect the value from the text box. ID is txt category. Txt category is the text box. Okay. So we have to write a function. What is the function? So that is add click. Add click, we have to first collect category name. How to access category name? Document dot get element by ID txt category dot value. Okay. After accessing category name, add this category into array. What is our array? Categories. Into that, how to add? We can use push. Am I right? We can use push. What to push? The category name you collected from text box. We have to add that. After adding, what we have to do is we have to refresh the list. To refresh the list, what we are doing, load categories will be called again. That means actually if I don't create that function, this loop I have to write again here, everywhere. We are writing a simple function and we are calling it. And I will just put an alert saying that, so new category added, or you can write category name also. That means you can simply write here dollar and category name added to list. This message I want to display. Now you see what happens here. I am entering the category name. So that is fashion. And I click on add. Here you can see fashion added to list. Okay. It is repeating it. That's what the problem I said. It is duplicating. It should not duplicate. So whenever you are loading the categories, this one, before iterating and loading, if already any list is there, clean up. Then what we have to do is before loading, document dot get element by ID lst categories. That means the drop down list box dot inner HTML is empty. That means delete everything which is present inside and add this list every time newly. Otherwise, previous list will be there, to that new list will be added. We should not do like that. Okay, now it is good. One more point. After I finished adding, I don't want this text box to have that anymore. Then what we will do is, after adding, document dot get element by id, txt category, right? Txt category dot value we will keep empty. That means the text box value will be empty. Okay, fine. Now let's add here fashion, and I click on add, then fashion added to list. Okay, it is removed from the text box, it is present here. So I am adding here, suppose men's clothing, and click on add, that is men's clothing added. Okay, that is added into that list, right? We can simply update that into the list. Now when I select any item and click remove, it should be removed. So we have to remove the selected item from that particular array. Then how do we do that? That means now we have to add logic for this button. And what is it? On click. On click is remove click. On remove click, first we have to access the item they selected inside drop list box. After accessing the item they selected, I have to get its index number, at which index it is present. After getting the index number only, I can remove it, right? Because we have to use splice, because they can remove from top or bottom, that is pop and push, but anyone they can remove, that means splice. So first point, how to write here? So write a function. This is remove click. Okay, on remove click, first we have to collect the category name. Document dot get element by id lst categories dot value. This will return the selected category name in drop down which category they selected. After that, we will declare category index. How to get it index number? Already we learned string function. So get index number. How? We can just use the collection. Collection is what? Categories dot index of. Index of which one? Category name. We will pass the category name. It will return the index of that category. Now from that index, we have to remove the item. That means what we have to do? Categories dot splice. Splice index number na? Index number is category index. How many to remove? 1. Right? That's how we need to define. And before removing, we can ask, are you sure you want to remove? Right? If no, we will not remove. If yes, we will remove. That means this, before doing this, we can do one thing. We can put a flag. Flag is using a confirm. Confirm is asking like, are you sure? So here say, are you sure? Right? And slash n will come to next line. So slash n want to delete. So want to delete which one? We will access the category name. Want to delete this category, that is the flag. Now flag means, why I'm using the word flag? Because it will get true or false. That means if flag is equal to true, then what should happen? Delete. Otherwise, don't do anything. Don't do anything, right? So only if it is true, delete. Otherwise, nothing to do. Leave it empty. Now, after that, if it is true, after deleting, it should update. Na? That means what we have to do? We have to load categories. We have to load categories after deleting. If it is not true, don't delete. Right? So we have to just define like this. Now you see, I am adding a new category, some fashion. Add, then it will be added. Fashion is added. I want to remove this footwear. select it and remove category. Are you sure want to delete footwear? I said cancel, then it is not deleted. I said, are you sure you want to delete footwear? Okay, then it is removed. Right, I am selecting electronics, remove. Are you sure? Okay, that is removed. Right, I am adding some electronics now and it will be added into the list. Right, we can simply handle this, but this is not finished. You have just learned one basic. Here lot of conditions are there, like if already item is there, how to tell already it is there. So that means, for example, I added fashion again and click on add item. So here you can see again added. It should not add, it should say that it is already there, you cannot add. Right, so everything requires logic. You have to write logic. We will have a lot of doubts, how to do that, how to do this. Everything is done through logic, you have to write. So that is the reason in real time projects it will take years of time. Right, one software project for real world scenario means 1 year 2 years. So why 1 year 2 years? You designed a Netflix homepage like in 2 days, then you are genius than those people. Huh? No, actually, for every concept, 100 of consequences will be there. A developer should write for every consequence. Right, if it is added in lowercase, how to do? If it is added in uppercase, how to do? If it is already there, what to do? That means actually for every concept, they have hundreds of algorithms. They have to see those algorithms and write the logic. And they cannot miss anyone. If they miss one point, then that will be a bug issue. Then while client is using, he will report that this problem is coming because you haven't noticed and you ignored. So everything we have to write. That means now we will see how to verify already it is there or not. If it is there, it should not add, it should display. What we have to do if it is in lowercase, uppercase, we have to convert and add. So many things will be there. These all array manipulations. First you try this basic, how to handle this array manipulation, adding and reading the items into array, removing. Now we will see more manipulations, how to work, like sorting, like filtering, how to manage them. That we'll see next session. Right, Monday we'll continue with that. Right.